into?
Yes.
That's right. My win streak is dead, Jim. I mean, Rick, I'm very sad about the whole thing. It was going so well.
Dr. McCoy there for a second.
I was feeling so smart.
Dead, Jim.
Damn it, Jim. Need more power, Jim.
Yeah. Oh, that's funny.
We've been playing in one of my groups. We've been playing Noodle. And at the beginning, I'm like, oh, this is great. It's like, oh, and people are just like, oh, I just don't know that many obnoxious, rude words. And I was like, and I'm like, okay, this seems really easy to me. What does that say? And then it's like the whole pendulum swung the other way. And I'm like, I have never heard of this one before. And it's like, I have no idea what this is. And it's like, okay, maybe it is, maybe I just was like, not as dirty, or they're just getting more finessed.
What does Jim do? He reaches out to me to ask me what that word means.
Rick knows. He's like the walking urban dictionary.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, that's funny. Well, it's 6 after. I don't know. Should we get going, Dennis? I don't know how many more will trickle in, and that's fine too.
Yeah, let's.
So it's yeah, awesome. It's as we know, we just are kind of in the midst of MVP season, and the big announcements have gone out, and everybody, got their huge buckets of cash, right? For the prize for winning. I wish. I know, but it's fun stuff. And so
I heard cash.
Yeah.
Hi, everyone.
Hi.
That's cash as in CACHE. Is that what we're talking about?
Yeah, no kidding. So let's just go around and introduce ourselves. I'm Megan Jensen. I'm up in the Twin Cities, first time strategy MVP. So it's kind of, big deal for me. Kind of fun. I've worked with a lot of folks on this call. I work with RDA right now as a digital strategist. Usually one of the few females in groups like this, so I'm kind of used to it. And Dennis, my co-host, I'll let you introduce yourself next.
All right, Dennis Augustine. I am a 6-time MVP, once in strategy in 2020. I've been ambassador since, despite running this thing. Sitecore for about 13 years and loving every minute of it, especially the community aspect. That's the best part about doing Sitecore. Sitecore itself can be frustrating, but the rest of y'all are awesome and make it great. Let's go, Madhav. Want to introduce yourself? And then you pick somebody else.
Hey, yeah. My name is Madhav. I am from Florida, below, like South Florida. And I've been with Sitecore from past 6 years only, I can say. Not experienced as you guys, but yeah. And I'm not an MVP. I'm an aspirant to become an MVP. So I thought I'll just attend this and gain some knowledge, connect with community, and give to community something in this year. That's my plan. So hopefully, you guys help me out somewhere, one or other way. Yeah. And and I can pass it to Ken.
Thank you, Madhav. Ken, customer experience strategist at Conobos, and been a 2-time strategy MVP, not this year, but most likely next year. We'll see how that goes, as everybody. Been doing this Sitecore thing since October 23, 2011. I'll always remember that date. They launched the site on that weekend, the Monday I started work, and they said, "This is Sitecore, learn it." And so I did. It was a great experience, and that's how I met Dennis and got involved in growing and becoming an MVP. So lots of kudos to Dennis for even running this year as well. I'm going to call on CHRIS, Chris.
We know who that is.
Oh, yeah. So I've been doing Sitecore for a long time. I've been in IT since the Raptors became a team. This year, I'm actually an ambassador MVP, but I'm really interested in, the strategy side of things, especially with the onset of composable, where strategy and the business side of composable is the more important piece of the composable puzzle, even though a lot of the techies want to claim it's the architecture. It's actually the strategy side is actually more important.
That's
Um,
Dennis's hot button.
yeah. So most of you, I think, know me. So
Awesome.
They don't know
Chris,
what
you
you
get
gotta
to choose
ask
which-
somebody.
Yeah,
don't
Chris,
know,
send it
yeah, you-
over to someone else to introduce themselves.
I don't know who. I don't think I know who Adam Roboto is. So
Roboto, I'll save you there.
Roboto.
Roboto. Yeah, nice to meet everyone, and glad I found the link and was able to join. So I started my career at Sitecore in 2009 as a Sitecore developer. Moved into more of the solution architecture side for about 6 years, was just helping to sort of design and build them, and less writing code, but working as that kind of bridge between business and technology teams. Pivoted in 2015 towards data as a career choice. So got a master's in data science and started freelancing as a data engineer and data architect for a while. Rejoined my agency, Valier, to kick off our data engineering services. Had been following the CDP space for quite a while, since my focus on data was always around marketing analytics. And I found myself in a nice position here, having the background of Sitecore, general architecture, general type of clients who are using Sitecore, having a background in data analytics, data engineering. So very excited about the Boxever acquisition. Been following that recently, working through the certification material now. Most of my CDP experience has been with Segment, which is the largest CDP by market share. And so a lot of the concepts translate pretty well to Boxever. So that's been helpful. Also did quite a lot of, I have done quite a lot of work with Sitecore XP and some advanced kind of Sitecore analytics integration work, moving Sitecore analytics data up into AWS infrastructure and into warehouses and working with it there. A little sad to see XP kind of on the chopping block a bit, and all that knowledge I built up over the years from like OMS and DMS, and just gonna say goodbye to that part of my brain that's been taking up.
Don't say goodbye yet. Don't say
I know. But totally understand the move and the pivot. And like I mentioned, I've been working with CDPs for a while, so I get it in terms of this being kind of a more future-proof way of working with customer data and being able to get it in and out of different systems. So yeah, excited about that push. I don't know who's been called on yet, so I could pick someone at random, but I might need a steer.
Somebody can jump in too.
I have not introduced myself, and I am not an MVP, and I will tell you why I am here. I am the director of strategy. I joined Verndale in December, end of November, early December, and it's a new function. And Liz Brenzani, who I believe is an MVP, and I'd be surprised if Rick Cabral was not, because rumor has it he has a Sitecore tattoo. I don't know if that was a hazing joke, but in any event,
we won't ask where.
Yeah. So obviously, as a key strategic partner, I have much to learn in Sitecore, and will be doing trainings. I do have SaaS background way back in my career, but I most recently was actually a more RFPing the Sitecores and Optimizely's and the others of the world as the director of marketing at CVS Health for 6 years, and so now in this strategy role, hopefully will become an MVP. I would say I am a novice, but I'd love to be a fly on the wall and speak with you all further.
Nice, welcome.
Thank you.
Who's next? Who's this Ricky Bauer guy? Who he is?
Ricky.
Who's this guy?
Bauer, hi.
Identify yourself, sir.
Hello, my name is Rick Bauer. I am a 6-time Sitecore Strategy MVP. I got my last Sitecore Strategy MVP this year because I am no longer eligible because I now work for Sitecore. So I'm excited to be here, and I can probably answer some questions because I'm also on the MVP selection committee, which I did include myself this year when I selected. So I know I abstained on my own vote, but anyway, so I can probably help with the topic today as far as some of the guidance, and happy to be a part of that. I know most of you here. So and Chris, are you in the metaverse? I just wanted to ask that real quick.
Well, did you see the video John West posted about the metaverse? That was really awesome. About what it really is. Yeah.
I actually own the rights to Chris. I bought an NFT of Chris, so pay off of it.
All right. Well, I can't owe you that.
Oh my God, Daddy, fuck my ass!
Which one do we have to kick out? Here?
Oh, wait,
Thank you. Remove. All right, there we go. Very nice.
I'm bummed.
Oh, that's my first Zoom
bomb. I'll pass to Jim.
Yeah, same here.
That's all
I've never
good.
had that.
Oh, I mean, that one was good. We cut it off at the pass. So, Jim Patillo, I am a 4-time Sitecore MVP. The last 2 have been for strategy. The first 2 were for ambassador. And currently working on a contract with a federal agency, and doing okay there, but very interested in strategy. And I manage or moderate our Sitecore Reddit community as well. So if you've got blog posts that you want featured as you write blogs, which are, I'm sure Rick will get into, part of your requirements for becoming an MVP, I'm happy to post those and get your voice out there. Also, I have a page dedicated on there to meetup groups. So if you're looking to present a talk at a meetup group, I have a list of all of the meetup groups that are available, and then a shortened list of ones that are looking specifically for folks like coming up really quick. And I just to give a shout out in that list, the Minneapolis St. Paul user group that Jason Wilkerson is running is looking for a speaker for next month, I think it's this month. I think it's the 23rd. So if you're available,
It's like
and you've got
next
to
week.
talk,
Yeah.
if you're available and you've got to talk, they're looking to fill that second slot in, and that's a great way to again get yourself out in the community. So
And I'm going to shout out Jim, because Jim is like the promoter of all of these user groups. Always at the Toronto one, on this one. So appreciate you, Jim, for everything that you're doing, man. Keep
and then
on
I
doing
co-host Sitecore Lunch on Fridays with Corey Smith. And so that's a great, I mean, it tends to kind of lean a little technical. So maybe some strategy folks can come in and we can kind of make things balanced.
Right.
Yeah.
And
Support each other.
Yeah, and
We
then to
will
pass it off.
infiltrate Fridays.
Yes, to pass it off to the next person. And I will apologize if I mispronounce your name, but Kranti?
Yep, yes, you are right. Thanks, guys. Nice to meet you all. I would say I'm the first time applied and rejected the Sitecore strategies. Yeah, so
We all
I'm
have
from, yes,
Yeah.
yeah. And I would say I'm been working with Sitecore from 9 years, being solutioning from around 5 years. And now into like a position recently where I need to, I mean, I'm leading a practice, Sitecore practice at Altudo. So yeah, this is about me, but I'm not from America, but I'm from Europe. If you know Baltics, a country called Latvia. So I'm from there. And I was also, I mean, I'm the organizer of Sitecore user group Baltics as well, which has been like more than a year old. And we already did some 5th and 23rd, we have another meetup. It's a 6th meetup. And I can say that in this Baltics, I have been working hard to show that this community is big, the Sitecore community, everyone is separated because of this consulting stuff. And none of the meetups were less than 50. That's what I know. 50 people attending every meetup. That's something I liked it. So yeah, I just want to know what I did wrong and just to realize what I need to do more. Yeah.
Who did you offend?
No.
I don't know.
I'm sure we all probably have some good tips we can give on that front. I was also one of the reviewers as well. And I'm sure I didn't have you, so don't blame me.
Maybe
I
Rick.
was reviewing ambassador stuff, so nobody here who applied for strategy should blame me for anything. Okay, that's all I'm saying. So hey, well, so who's next? We got a new strategy MVP in the house. I know, Rachna Gupta, the
Hey.
only. Introduce yourself, Rachna. What's up?
Yeah, sure. So thank you, Dennis. So Kranti, just to your point, I was also rejected last time. So and I realized maybe my efforts were not at par, but this year I am the first time Sitecore MVP strategist from the USA. So you are on your way to the right path, saying you'll make it this year. So yes, I am into strategy from last 15 years now. I was more into web production, digital marketing, worked with a lot of CMS in the past. In last 3 years now, I have been working into Sitecore domain, looking into Sitecore CMS very closely, taking up few courses, blogging about it, understanding what the capabilities of the CMS are, which are beautiful, the personalization and the other things. So educating clients on that. So, so that is me. Most probably I get into digital marketing more. So more of a digital strategist, product owner, as well as, looking into search engine optimization and other techniques to help customers who own Sitecore websites. So that is me.
Excellent. Trying to remember who we haven't heard yet from. Mustafa, are you on? Would you like to introduce yourself?
Yes, I am. Sorry. Hi, everyone. I'm Mustafa Hanafi. Speaking of the MVPs, looks like the conversation is headed that way. So I just been awarded also the Ambassador MVP for the first time. Kranti, I was also ejected last year. So it seems to be a recurring theme. Yeah, so I just moved to Egypt, my home country, a few months ago from Canada, and I am starting to build a Sitecore community here, co-organizing a Sitecore user group in Egypt with 2 other people who are excited also to build a community here. So far, it's going very well. We had our first meetup last Sunday, and we're looking forward to have more and build a community. So yeah, so far it's been a great journey with Sitecore. I've been in the field of Sitecore about 6 years now. And yeah. And I'm a program manager with Conabus, so I do mostly program management, project management, and some other business development stuff as well.
Awesome. Carlos, I'm going to throw it over to you, sir.
Okay, I will catch it. My name is Carlos Rodriguez. I live in Jacksonville, Florida. I'm a 3-time technology MVP with Sitecore. And I've been involved with Sitecore for about 7 years now. I actually used to work for the company. I used to be one of their software trainers. So I would go all around the country and teach people how to use Sitecore, develop with it, all across the board. So I was happy when I did move on from Sitecore. I was happy I was able to get the MVP or work on it. Certainly part of my interest in being a member of this group is that particularly when people find out I can communicate well and even though I'm deep in development, they like to push me into roles where I get to talk more and code less. And that's what's been going on with me for probably the last 2 years. So I feel like I've been fulfilling this unique role where I've been connecting technologists with non-technologists to help them bridge whatever gaps they have on one end, their understanding of how Sitecore works, on the other end, the requirements that they're asking them to fulfill and why is it important to do it a certain way. The funniest thing I would say in those last 2 years is my CSS skills have increased tremendously because something I've been doing a lot of and I find myself needing to manage is to keep developers from being overloaded with tickets. I would throw in a little inline CSS here, a little inline CSS there to get the component to work that last 5% that wasn't part of the original requirements. but the client decided they needed, tomorrow. So, I'm finding that in addition to those things, what I'm also trying to help do is manage technical debt and not make that become a problem because something was discovered after it went live from a requirement standpoint. So I feel like that spoke in the wheel, and the questions I've been asking myself of lately is, when do I transition from being a technical MVP to being more of a strategy MVP? Or even an ambassador, because I'm finding a whole different fight. Well, I don't want to call it fighting. That's not the right word, but I'm definitely dealing with different challenges now than I was when I was doing hardcore development work. So I actually had a conversation with Tomas earlier today where that was one of my questions, like, how do I know that I need to make that transition and start focusing on that? And that's not to say that I'm trying to step away from technology. I plan to learn Next.js and become more comfortable with the composable stack mechanism versus the MVC stuff and everything else that I used to be really deep into. But I would like to find ways to talk more about some of the other things I've been doing as it relates to being that hub for the projects I work on, since I'm spending a lot of time doing that. So I'm hoping this group will help me see how I can move in that direction. And anytime you guys want me to talk more about what that's like, I'd be more than happy to talk about it.
Nice.
Awesome.
Okay.
I'm probably going to mispronounce your name, but Katan, would you like to introduce yourself?
Yeah, sure. So, all right. So I'm Ketan, and I've been working with Icreon for past 4 years. To the Sitecore ecosystem, I'm a little bit recent. I've been working on Sitecore for past 3 years, working on a couple of projects on the Sitecore commerce side, then move on to XP, and now Content Hub. So it's been an exciting journey, a lot of products to evaluate and figure out. Right now, we are figuring out how to integrate these spaces for different projects and different clients. And trying to figure out and make a sense of this whole composable world. I'm pretty new to it, but yeah, making sense of that as I move forward. And I'm so glad I joined this conversation. I was pretty bummed up due to the rejection for the Sitecore MVP application, but yes, it's happy to be part of the community, and I'll be contributing more. So look out for my presentation in the upcoming virtual Developer Day conference this April. So that's about me. Thank you.
Let's see, who else do we have? Karina, do you want to introduce yourself?
Yes, actually, I was just wondering about that, and I'm driving, so hold on. I can manage this. Hang on. I had a meeting, so I was a little late hopping on, but I'm glad to. There we go. Yeah, so I'm multitasking, but I promise I'm safe. Yeah, so I work for Sidley, and I'm a 3-time Sitecore Ambassador MVP, also a Coveo MVP. I love both technologies. So that's another subject, talking about Coveo and Sitecore. However, I'm really glad to join today, and really been passionate in my career of creating more of a collaborative partner ecosystem at Sitecore. So, oftentimes Sidley is only involved with another partner if another partner brings us in for a consortium in an RFP. Maybe they need like branding, or they need strat or creative. And Sidley, above and beyond having a Sitecore practice, we're 30 years a brand agency. So it's a typical traditional agency model, in which case there is a little bit of a challenge with Sidley being seen as an SI. And so I was brought into Sidley 4 years ago to lead their Sitecore practice. And I had already been leading the biz dev for Sitecore in another agency. So it has been a challenge, but it's been really exciting to work with different partners in my last 4 years and trying to create complementary go-to-market, I guess, positioning, so that even if there is another SI like I work very closely with RightPoint. So even if there's another SI in the mix for a particular project, there's always going to be a place where maybe we're stronger, or it's more in our wheelhouse to do strat or creative strategy than, say, I don't know, I'm using RightPoint as an example, but there's always ways for us to work closer together in the partner ecosystem. And then even as a microcosm of that, just in the MVP community, being able to unite ambassadors with strategy and technologists and commerce, you know, obviously those are all distinctive roles within the MVP program, but it's good to see meetings like this, you know, little kind of lunch and learn intros where we can put everybody in the same pile and just learn from each other, kind of like what I believe his name Carlos was saying, and just really teaching one another, especially non-technologists, teaching them about what are the strains with the dev side of a project, etc. I'm also really passionate about digital accessibility, so I tend to speak a lot on that subject. And I see Chris Williams is on, and I always like seeing Chris, and it's good to see him too. So that's it for me. That's my intro. Yeah, so there is Montreal, nice rainy, gross Montreal, Canada. So
Nice.
I'll go back on mute.
Awesome. Drive safely, Creed. I'm glad that you're here. I think Kimberly, do you want to introduce yourself? Oh, you're on mute.
Yeah, was just trying to find where I left the mouse pointer. So hello, everybody. I know most of you, but maybe not all of you. I've been around this Sitecore world.
We've seen you around. We've seen you around.
Around a little bit.
Yeah.
So I've been in the Sitecore community for a long time, since about 2007 at Ocean. And then I went to Sitecore, and then I went to Cognified, and then I went to Google and a Sitecore customer, Collinson, and then I went back to Ocean. And recently, about 3 weeks ago, I started working at Icreon. And Ketan is one of my new colleagues, and he's super cool and doing some very interesting work with Content Hub. So I'm super excited that he got a spot on the virtual developer day. So I'm really excited to be at Icreon. And I'm saying that not just because Ketan is on the call, but because it's you know, I mean, those of you that know Ocean are very focused on the technical side of the business and partnering for a lot of other services. And to me, that always creates some friction and gray area, or at least it did for me. So now in this role focused on building business for Icreon on predominantly the West Coast, I can focus more on helping the marketer with my marketing background and helping through, you know, business transformation, digital transformation, and helping people get more use out of the platform and moving from the wonderful monolithic to composable. So I'm a little bit, you know, suffering from the fire hose of new information at being somewhere new, and it's all good. It's exciting. So hopefully, you know, I don't know, maybe next year I might have to apply for a strategy MVP, since I'm getting deeper into things now. So we'll see what happens. And hello to my fellow Canadians.
Those of you.
Is that your mating call? What is that?
No, I understood that reference.
Yeah, who knows that? Who knows that one?
Mackenzie, come on.
There you go.
Mackenzie brothers.
The Mackenzie brothers. That's the call of the great white.
Yeah, the Mackenzie brothers. Yeah, the great white.
I think our last little square that we haven't heard from is Jana. Do you want to just introduce yourself?
Yeah, I actually thought I might have missed my opportunity because of being so
heavens
late.
no.
Well, hi everyone. I'm Jana Baumgartner. I have been working with Sitecore for, oh my gosh, I'm losing track of time, over 10 years. And I've done all kinds of things with Sitecore. I've been 6 of my 10 years was on the client side. Then I moved on and I managed a team. Then I moved in, I actually worked with Altudo. Kranti, you said you're with Altudo, right? And I was their director of digital solutions. And I was an architect there and a tech lead. And then I moved on to RDA, where I am very focused on strategy and also the director of digital solutions here. And I've been a Sitecore Strategy MVP for 4 years. And like Karina, I'm also a Coveo MVP. And I also love both those technologies. They work really well with each other, but we'll see what the future holds with Composable and Discover and all of those great things. But I'm super excited to get everyone together because as Sitecore acquires more products and we have, this composable world, strategy is not just, it used to be just XP, if you work in personalization, you're a strategist. And now it's so varied because you could be a commerce strategist, you could be a content strategist, you could be a search strategist, a personalization strategist, an analytics strategist. It means so many different things. And I'm excited to build this community and get it even stronger with all these different strategy aspects and what people could bring to the table and really specialize in. And that's very exciting to me. So, well, thank you, Megan, for getting everyone here and emceeing this for us today.
Yeah. I think, okay, I just want to double check. We didn't miss anybody on intros, right? Awesome. So I was telling my husband about this, when I got my MVP and then this lunch and our Friday lunches, and he's like, well, isn't the competition in there? And I'm like, that's the weird thing about this community is like, there's not really competition. I mean, we're friends, we're colleagues, and there's like this level of collaboration and support that no one really cares where anybody works, apart from we've probably worked together with some of these folks and probably will again. But, it really kind of takes away we all are loyal to our employers, but we're more supportive of each other and just want everyone to be better. And so I was an aspiring MVP for a couple of years. I owe a lot to Rick and Jim on this call for kind of teaching me 99% of what I know about Sitecore and cheering me on to get it this year. And Jana as well for helping me celebrate. But I really want us to help out the folks on the call right now who are aspiring MVPs, who haven't applied, who don't know where to start, who maybe got, didn't get it this year and tried. So I kind of want to call on Rick and Dennis and Jim and anyone else on the call who are on the selection committee and just walk us through that process. What's important, what isn't, what can we start doing now? Because like the pressure's on, I'm a first timer. I'm going to be humiliated if I lose it next year. So like, I feel even more pressure now to keep it up. So can I call on you guys to kind of walk us through what happens after we submit our application?
Happy to.
With Ricky.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I'm in a little unique position because I've kind of been MVP. I've been an MVP reviewer, now working at Sitecore. I'm on the Sitecore reviewing side. It goes through multiple steps, right? So I'll just kind of how the sausage is made, so to speak. There's review processes by MVPs. They're included in that. There are people that are defined for each group of MVPs inside Sitecore for reviewing, and then there's a layer above that I'm not even a part of. So there's kind of more of that corporate level. So somebody said before, it's like, who did you piss off? That's not there is not that. it's not a popularity contest. It is a content based driven piece. And so I think a couple of the main points that I'll make, and I don't want to take all of this because I want everyone to be able to chime in, but videos, content, getting yourself out there with blogs, and just being, getting yourself known for something is great, but you don't have to. You can be talking about something that other people are talking about. There's just getting content out there matters, and not waiting till September. Slow and steady wins the race here. Like, keep it kind of coming across over the year. That is a piece that is looked at. If we see somebody coming in and it's all last minute, that doesn't work too well. The other thing I'll say is a caution. I don't know if anyone's run into this and we're kind of like, well, how come I didn't get this? If you happen to work for a company, this was a rarity, but it is out there. If you happen to work for a company that will not author credit your blog posts, try and get that changed, because if we can't prove it, we can't count it. And it's just it's a thing where it's like, you may say that you have a bunch of things you rewrote, but if your name's not on it, we can't say that it is. So you got to work with your company to have them change that policy. But steady content over time is what matters. And then I will say, from a strategy standpoint, the SMAC team has those webinars, and we are looking for them on that committee too, but we are looking for people to speak on webinars. That is a great opportunity to expose yourself and be known to our team, and the entire SMAC team is on the review committee. So it's just a little way to definitely be known for that. So I'll pause there and let others chime in.
I'll jump in on that too. I think that the first thing, when you're reviewing, first of all, I think everybody who reviews is going to as well just kind of put in mind what they know about what other people are doing. So I think it's really important for us to kind of, when we're applying, to think, have I put in the work that some of the people in this cohort have, and to be realistic about that as well. So it's really important to show the work in your application. I know that there are some folks who've actually done decent work, but have not kind of more itemized it in their application. So it's really hard for you to kind of see that if you have put in the work. So if you've, maybe keep a list during the year, and to Jim's point, make sure you get credited for your author stuff. Chris put a great suggestion in the chat about publishing your own things on LinkedIn. So you can point right at that, so everybody can know what it's really attributed to. So that's really important. I think as well, mean it. When I got into Sitecore as a cocky.NET developer 13 years ago, I thought I could do this stuff because, it's .NET, how hard can it be? And thank goodness for, Mr. West and other folks who posted things that, bailed me out. And I realized that I was going to be more successful because of the community. And so I think it's really important to embrace and believe that message. And if you believe that, you will necessarily walk the talk. And then the MVP thing will be a byproduct of you engaging with the community and all of these wonderful people, and not the aim, because folks can really tell it's about community, and folks can, you will know folks who are about the community as opposed to about the title, right? So mean it. And if you mean it, you will be doing it. And if you'll be doing it, you will record that and apply, and hopefully you'll get it if you do a good job of making your case. Lastly, I'll say be realistic about what you apply for, right? So I was a strategy MVP in 2020, and I know that there's somewhat of a perception about a pecking order of MVPs and how ambassadors aren't real MVPs. Well, I deliberately applied for ambassador the last 2 years. And why did I do that? Because I thought I had not put in enough strategy content, despite having spoken on SMAC and doing this strategy lunch. Folks like Jana and Megan were doing way more strategy related content, and I was doing more connections of people in the community and advocating for products. So it just made sense for me to apply for ambassador, because that's what I am. So there was a question about, when do I know when I should move away from the technology thing? Well, when you're doing stuff that is, ambassador-ish, apply for that. When you're doing stuff that is about strategy, apply for that. If you're not, and I got a big up, I forget who it was on LinkedIn. There was one of our group who deliberately did not apply this last year because he felt he had not put in the work. Who was that again?
Pete Navarro. Pete Navarro, who actually deserves to be MVP.
But I'm gonna make a bit of shout out to Pete, because Pete was like, you know what? I don't think I quite did enough to apply this year. And wow, I said to Pete, that is, Pete, you really are an MVP, because, he's not about the accolade. He felt that I needed to contribute, and he had a lot of stuff going on in his life that prevented him from doing so. And all of us know the heart that but he didn't feel he put in the work. So he didn't even bother applying. So I want to just say that that is someone who's very aware of community matters, contribution matters, and is all about that. And the accolade was just something that's nice to have. So Pete, when you watch this, you're the real MVP, brother. Pete.
We should make him an honorary MVP this year.
You know what I mean?
Title just for him.
For real, for real. He's the MVP of our hearts, Pete is, for real, for that move. Jimmy.
Yeah, just to segue off of what you said, when I initially started working with Sitecore, you know, I worked for a company and Cam Figgy was one of the developers, and it's like, well, he's an MVP, and it's like, I would like to try and do that. And I was told by people who were not Cam and people who were not MVPs, like, what you do, like moderating a subreddit, is not MVP worthy. Like, it's not a thing. And so someone eventually convinced me, like, hey, you know what, just apply for ambassador, because what you're doing is you're helping, like Dennis said, you're making connections, you're facilitating people's stuff getting out there, and you're being a part of the community at large, and that's what's going to get recognized. And then sure enough, I got ambassador MVP, and I was kind of shocked about that. And then 2 years ago, someone said, you know what, you've grown as a person and as a contributor, and so you should really move into strategy, because you're doing less ambassador work and you're doing more on the strategy side, even just giving advice to people and just being out there and being part of the community. So like, you fit a little bit, and not to say that ambassador is like the lowest rung on the ladder, to Dennis's point. It can be a starting point, but like it gave me the confidence to at least put more of myself out there and blog more and do more. And that made me transition into strategy all the more easier for me. And then I was just like, thank God I got it, because, and it's just keeping up and maintaining that throughout the whole course of the entire year. One other thing I'll point out too is, like, I've been on the reviewing committee for the past couple of years on the MVP side, and the biggest thing that I think I see is like a lack of effort being put into the application. So when you fill out the application, you should be speaking about things that, these are things I did, these are things I can show you, these are my blog posts, this is the sort of activity I've been doing in the community. I'm on Stack Exchange, I'm here, I'm there, I'm everywhere. And these are specific examples of me helping out that I feel demonstrate this. What you should not do is say, here's my Twitter account, and then leave us to go through and filter through your entire Twitter and to find like the one or two things that are like Sitecore related out of all of the other things that are going on in your Twitter. Or you should say, I work with clients and in a strategy capacity. Like, that is great if that keeps you employed, but as far as MVP goes, it's what you can demonstrate and bring to the community. And so if you're, some companies don't allow you to share what goes on with your individual clients, like you can't share the work that you do. You can try and work out and figure out a way where you can anonymize it and say, oh, you can't say I worked with this particular company. You could say I worked for someone in the shoe industry or the sports equipment industry, and I helped them in this way. And this is the problem that they were facing. This is how we use Sitecore to resolve it, without giving total specifics. And that still brings value to the company, value to the community, because it still gives people a starting point to jump off on. So, and just meetups and user groups are another good way too. Like, I've posted in the chat a link to all the SUGs that are looking for folks. I run the Portland meetup, and we keep it really casual. It is less about presenting, and like, you can join, and we're on the West Coast. We happen late at night. So it's not late at night for the rest of the US. So it's not exactly very well attended, but it at least let you get your sea legs out there, where it can be like, hey, let me try presenting. We're a really non-judgmental group that's there. We won't hit you with like grill you and drag you across the calls for questions. I like to run the Q&A more as an informal conversation to just kind of keep things light. And if that builds your confidence to where it's like, hey, I'm going to apply for speaking at this group and this group and this group, you can do that. I mean, groups are more than happy to accept strategy talks to kind of balance out the technical heavy talks that they get.
I would, Jim, that's really good advice. I would add one more thing that I have encountered as I've reviewed MVPs in the past, or MVP applications in the past, especially in the strategy world. And I'm just as guilty of this. I write a lot of content that's not specific to Sitecore, right? It's generic strategy content, but what you're applying for is a strategy and a Sitecore strategy MVP. So just keep that in mind. So what I try to do is balance it out. So I'll write some content that's generic and then maybe write an article about how this applies specifically to Sitecore. So that might be something to think about, that especially as a strategist, how does this apply to Sitecore?
If you want to put that in layers, and you took a point that I wanted to make, and that's very good because you are applying for a Sitecore MVP, right? Content, Sitecore focused content, Sitecore focused content that's also happens to be something that's Sitecore as a company is focused on. So the topic of composable this year, is going to, get noticed even more. And it's not like it has to be. I'm not telling you what to write. Content is still good. I'm not saying that these layers are that different, but that is kind of the piece. If you're talking about, CDP and talking about that in a composable structure, there's gonna be a lot of interest on that article because there's a lot of people even in Sitecore that are still trying to figure that out. So it's just, it is, if you were at the last sim, you heard, Dave O'Flanagan say, we're on a journey together. It's part of this. And, talk about drinking from a fire hose. I heard that phrase before. We as, Sitecore as a company, look at the acquisitions that happened in the last little bit. There's a lot to learn. And so we're looking to the community and MVPs and partners and everything to help fuel that. So.
I'm going to let Dennis wrap up the meeting here in a few minutes because I have a client workshop in a few minutes I have to go get ready for. But I just wanted to say one more thing. Sitecore does have a MVP mentor-mentee program, and I think the window may have closed already to join that. But if you're looking for a mentor, if you need help, if you get stuck, if you want someone to review a blog post or ask questions, advice, just reach out to someone. Regardless of where they work, regardless of where they live, if there's someone who you've met on one of these lunches that you've kind of connected with and you want to just bounce some stuff off them, do that. That's the greatest thing about this community is it really doesn't matter where you work or where you live. People are really open to helping lift each other up. So if you're looking for a mentor, my advice is don't hesitate to just reach out to somebody and say, hey, can you look this over for me? Because people are really exceedingly generous with their time and expertise in this little universe that we have.
Right on. Well, thank you, Megan, and thanks for the great idea to get all of these strategy MVPs together for this session. Good luck with the meeting. Go do your strategy.
I'm going to go do my thing. You guys continue for a few minutes. I'm going to make a fresh cup of coffee and keep going. See you guys later.
So so I think that maybe with the last few minutes that we have together, I mean, I think we got some, hopefully everybody who's, and by the way, like I got rejected my first time too, right? So it's kind of actually, I think almost everybody does. So that's probably step one.
Right.
Step two after you get it is fretting about your second one. The second one is the most, the time between December and January when you hear it's awful. It's just terrible. So, so that's step two. But yeah, I think, just sharing whatever you learned some time ago, and anybody else can pop in after this, or if you have any questions. Some time ago, we were talking to John West, who was that Mr. West that I mentioned who bailed us out. So that John West is MVP for life, right? And deservedly so. And he was saying, he just started blogging about things that he was doing, and he didn't think that anybody, he didn't think that some of the stuff was so complicated or really, but somebody found it useful. Hey, because, you know, it might not have been, you know, might not have seemed like a big deal to him, but to them, it was just the thing that they needed and it was new to them. Well, now in this composable space, it's new to all of us. All of it is new to all of us. So if you're thinking about opportunities, oh my God, the treasure trove of opportunities has just been opened up. And all you got to do is like learn one new thing about CDP. And I can guarantee you, I'll listen to it because I know jack about CDP right now. I'm going to fix that soon. But there's lots of things to share. So yeah, just get into training, crack open the thing and share something. You're going to be just fine. Jana, and you want to give the folks any more advice or about what they could do or things that are going on that we should be plugged into at this point? Jana's our co-host over here, by the way.
You know, I don't have any more advice than all of these great people on the call have already given. But absolutely what you can plug into, it's pretty clear, right? All of the different products that Sitecore has now acquired and has become part of the suite. So whatever you can learn, whatever you can touch with those products is going to be exciting new stuff. And just like Dennis opened it up to me, I'm just going to open it up one last time to everyone else to see if there's any other tidbit of advice someone wants to add to this conversation before we wrap it up.
I'd just throw one more out there. So joining and attending this event is not a line item on your application, just so you're aware. Joining the Sitecore lunch on Friday, like I go every Friday, that's great, but a lot of the other people go too, and we don't just give out, they don't just give out MVP for that. So just be aware, like there's a difference between joining and presenting and like truly participating. So that's the type of thing that they look for.
Yeah, right on.
The thing I was going to say is that, so a lot of people think that it takes a lot to write a blog, but really all you need is problem statement, a little blurb. It could point to other people's articles they actually use to solve the problem, and then wrap it up. So a nice short. So when you're working on stuff, have Notepad++ open as you're solving problems, put them in a Notepad++, boom, at the end of the day, you've got a whole bunch of blog posts. So it doesn't have to be really hard. It doesn't have to be these 20-page documents. In fact, if I find a document that's more than 2 pages long, I go on to the next blog when I read, right? So I think a lot of the community wants quick, easy things. And so you open up Notes or you open up Note++ or whatever, just have it open on your other screen. And then as you read stuff, write it. And by the end of the day, it's like, you know, you're blogging like crazy, right?
I'd say to that point too, go to the subreddit and take a look and see at the blog posts that go up there. We have some, like there's a little tag that I have called tips and tricks, where it's literally like 1 or 2 paragraphs about what someone thought about something in Content Hub and posted it. And it's like, that's a blog. I mean, it counts and it helps move people. Like I'd rather see 20 of those than 1 10-page blog post. Like to me, that shows more of an effort and more of a commitment to kind of get content out there.
Yeah, and also too, I mean, you think about the involvement in the community and you sharing that knowledge. A lot of people will go around saying, I'm an expert, I'm an expert, an expert. Expertise is something, everybody says they're an expert. Very few people show expertise by just sharing what they know. And by doing that, what's going to happen? People in the community are going to know that you know a little bit about something about this or that. And heck, I've worked with Chris. I founded a company with Chris one time, and now he's doing something else. I'm doing something else. You know, Jim was over here and Megan worked over at some other place. It's all about us. It's not about the companies where we work. It's about showing that care and connection with each other, check in with each other, ask if they're having trouble, you're having trouble, reach out to somebody who might know something about things. And I bet you'll find receptive ears for that. And with that, we are going to wrap. And I'm going to see if I can do one thing. I'm going to share just this little video quickly. What am I sharing right here? Is that the right one? You see my YouTube video? More power?
More power.
That's for you, Jimmy. We need more power, Jimmy. Wait, can you hear it?
It's a straight jet.
All right.
Engines are overloading. More power.
We're superheating. Meter mix temperature 7,400 degrees. 7.5.
Okay, folks.
7.6.
Damn it.
Chris is on the bridge
Damn
too.
it, Jim, I need more power, Jim. Yeah, see you, everybody.
2,000 degrees above maximum. 8.4.
3.
8.5.
2.
8.6.